Mom, it's her going into the house.
She walks in, that was it.
A mom is missing. This beautiful blonde, very young and vivacious woman.
Everybody was starting to reach out, and nobody had heard from her.
I tried to message her, I've tried to call her on Messenger.
Police had to look at those facts and say she could just be off the grid right now.
We don't have a crime scene. We don't have an obvious crime.
There's no body, there's no murder weapon.
Right here.
Yeah.
It's gonna look like he's dragging something. What the hell did we just watch?
Billings, Montana, 2018. The fiercely independent city on the edge of the Rocky Mountains is in the middle of an economic boom. It's here that 49-year-old Laura Johnson has come to experience her own independence after years of raising her children.
Yep. Yeah, that's probably the best picture of my mom. All I know is my mom got some 80s hair going on, and my dad actually has a full set of hair. Seeing all of us as an actual family, holy smokes.
Laura grew up in Vancouver, Washington, and met her future husband Howard there when she was 18.
By the time my mom was 23, she had 5 boys. She loved the fact that she was a mother. She always told us, I would never regret having all of you kids. She was extremely loving, and she was amazingly funny as well. And she gets that from her dad, who's just a jokester at every turn.
She was a wonderful mom, always helped with everything, always treated everybody like their family.
My dad worked the regular 9 to 5. Mom stayed at home, raised the kids. She was very nurturing.
She did everything. Every night she'd cook dinner. And for the amount of people that we had, I felt like it was a lot, but she made it look always easy, so.
She always made it a deal to have a good meal. Big old feast. My entire career has been in food service, and that's mostly due to the fact that I grew up cooking in the kitchen with my mom.
But in 2012, their children grown and out of the house, Laura and her husband Howard separate, and Laura moves to the Las Vegas, Nevada area.
I definitely think she wanted to find her own sense of happiness. You know, a woman in her 40s, having that for the first time, that's gotta be empowering, you know what I mean? So, she did tell me that she had joined a dating app.
And it isn't long before Laura meets someone she really likes. His name is Greg Green.
Greg was one of the people who she was matched with. He worked in Vegas right there. They went out on a couple of dates, and then it went to the point where she was living with him in Nevada.
Although she now lives 1,000 miles away from her family in Vancouver, Washington, Laura keeps in regular touch with her sons.
My mom was never really good about keeping a cell phone. So our main points of communication were Facebook.
She was consistently on Facebook. Like, you can click on Messenger and her little thing would be green.
In July of 2018, Greg Green gets a job in Billings, Montana. Laura follows him there in August, and soon after, she lands a job at a Papa John's restaurant. After her first day at work, Laura calls her son, Stephen.
I remember the last time that I talked to her on the phone was when she was driving home. It was literally just, talk to each other, see how life's going, have some laughs. But it's not until you look back, you wish you did more with your time, you know?
On September 18th, 2018, Laura's sons become concerned that she's stopped communicating with them.
My older brother, Howard Jr., he spoke to my mom every day. He called me and said, "Hey, have you guys heard from Mom?" And I haven't heard from her. I looked on Facebook. It said that she hadn't been active for a couple days. So then I called Steven. I was like, "Hey, have you talked to Mom?"
Jonathan called me on the 18th. The fact that Jonathan had even called me in the first place was a huge red flag. Because if there was a way to get a hold of her, he totally could have, you know what I mean? But now he's at the point to where he's like, I need help. I called my mom, and every time the phone was straight to voicemail. I've tried to message her, I've tried to call her on Messenger, I've tried to call her job, and the job is just like, yeah, she hasn't shown up for work since September 13th. Like all of this, and I'm coming up with nothing.
Nobody had heard from her.
I called Greg. He picked up. He says, came home from work on the 13th, and she was gone. All of her stuff's gone. All of it. I don't know anything. He doesn't know where she is.
September 24th, 2018. Laura's sons have been trying to reach her for 6 days.
So then I started calling the police department out there.
We asked the Billings, Montana Police Department to do welfare checks.
Officers went to Miss Johnson's residence to attempt to make contact and speak with her. The gate was locked. There was 2 large dogs in the yard. They weren't friendly. The house was quiet, and they weren't able to make any contact. Officers went to Miss Johnson's work and was advised that her last day of work was on the 13th, and she had not been to work since then.
Detectives tracked down her boyfriend, Greg.
When officers spoke with Gregory, he told them that on the 13th he had gone to work. And when he returned that day, he found that she was gone and she had packed her 2 red suitcases that she had brought with her and had left. The majority of people that contact police departments looking for their loved ones or wanting welfare checks done, those people are found eventually. You know, maybe they did go on a vacation and they didn't tell somebody. I think a lot of people, with the fast-paced life that we have, people want to take a break, they want to disconnect from life, and that can be something you have to take into consideration when looking for people.
What the law enforcement officers told me was, you are telling us that she's missing. We're not saying wrong, but we don't have enough information to say that you're right. The fact that it was a grown woman, people believe that if they aren't being found, it's because they don't want to be found. And anybody who knows my mom in this situation know that that's fundamentally not true. So the sense of like, something's happened became very real.
It's been 13 days since anyone has had any contact with Laura, and her family is getting anxious.
I posted a picture of my mom, and he said, "We have not heard from my mom." And just to explain the situation, a lot of people commented on there.
The post was getting a ton of shares. I thought that the whole thing was just strange. The fact that, her sons haven't heard from her. We don't know where she is. She hasn't showed up to her job yet. She's not responding to text messages. The first thing that I do when I see something like that is I do reach out to law enforcement.
September 27th of 2018, I did receive a call from one of the local reporters regarding a Facebook post involving Laura Johnson. So the next thing I did after I got off the phone was started to research the case. While we haven't reached the level that there was a crime committed, things were starting to fall in place that not everything was right.
Investigators find baffling clues in Laura's disappearance.
There was a recent phone ping from Washington that showed that the phone had been there on September 26th.
And learn of a troubling past.
She had a prior addiction, and she could just be off the grid right now.
I'm not just gonna sit here. So the next logical step was to go to Montana.
September 27th, 2018. Laura Johnson's family has not heard from her in 2 weeks. Her boyfriend, Greg Green, tells police he hasn't seen her since September 13th, which was also the last day she was at work.
At this point, it's still unknown where she's at, unknown if there's foul play involved. We just had not gotten any information conclusive one way or the other.
Police ask Laura's son, Stephen, if there is anything going on in her life they should know about. Stephen tells them that years before, she was injured and that she became addicted to prescription painkillers. But at the time of her disappearance, she was getting treatment and doing well.
There was a feeling that potentially she may have relapsed due to her addiction.
Police had to look at those facts and say, well, she does have a history of use. She had a prior addiction, and she could just be off the grid right now.
Detectives reach out to the clinic where Laura has been going for treatment.
The clinic advised me that she had been there every single day for 3 weeks prior to the 13th.
If Laura has relapsed, detectives know she could be in hiding somewhere. They go back to Greg Green, hoping he can help focus the search. But he doesn't have anything to add to his previous statement that Laura had moved out on September 13th, and he hasn't seen her since.
He was quite cooperative. He consented to a search of his home. Officers didn't locate any items that they thought were suspicious at that time. And Gregory had allowed them to look through his phone, which he showed them some messages that he had sent to Laura after she had left.
We don't have an obvious crime. We just know that she's been missing.
Investigators subpoena Laura's phone records, and when the data comes in, there's a glimmer of hope that Laura is alive and well.
There was a recent phone ping from Washington that showed that the phone had been there on September 26th.
Detectives wonder if Laura went back to her hometown of Vancouver, Washington, where her sons and ex-husband live.
From an investigative standpoint, it made sense because that's where some of her support network would be.
Sergeant Billings called and said, "I got some great news for you." I was like, oh, she did show up in town. I got excited.
Laura's sons immediately start searching all over Vancouver for her.
Me and my wife drove around for 2 hours to every business that was open, showing pictures of my mom, asking if anybody had seen her. So I was like, if she's in town, she's obviously would be at one of the hotels for sure. None of the hotels are like, nope, haven't seen her. Nobody's seen her. Not a single person.
Laura's sons are disappointed that there is no sign of her. Then they get disturbing news. The investigators made a mistake when tracking Laura's phone.
When they pinged my mom's phone, they pinged the last incoming call, and it was my dad. And it was on his birthday, because he spoke to my mom every year on his birthday. He knew everything that was going on, and he's like, well, it's my birthday, so hopefully she answers.
Laura never answered that call, and detectives realized that she was never in Vancouver. been 18 days since Laura Johnson disappeared, and her son Stephen decides he has to take action.
And being all the way in Washington and realizing that I wasn't gonna get an answer, that was the next logical step, was to go to Montana. I was like, I'm not just gonna sit here.
I couldn't let him go alone.
They said to themselves, we're gonna just get in the car and we're gonna drive 14 hours over to Billings and we're just gonna go look for her ourselves.
So the first place that we went was the police station. And what they tell us is, as long as I didn't break the law, I could do anything. I had inclinations about who the person Greg was, and none of that ever sat right with me.
Stephen calls Greg, looking for more details about the last time he saw his mother.
He picked up, it was him. You know, who are you? What is this? Hangs up the phone. So I went to his house. I was yelling my mom's name. I'm yelling Laura. I'm yelling Mom. I think that she's in there. And then that's when he lets the dogs out. So I go up to the dogs and they're loud, but they're not dangerous at all. So I just bent down and started petting the dog, you know. And that's when he came out of the trailer and lights a cigarette and he's, you know, can I help you? And I tell him, I was like, I'm Stephen Johnson. Like, Laura's my mother. I believe you know where she is and I would like you to tell me. And he's like, no, I came home and she was gone. He's very cocky. And he's just standing there smoking his cigarette. So I told him, I believe you know where my mother is. I will be the one to put you behind bars and I'll be the end of you. So he tells me to leave and he calls the cops on me.
October 1st, 2018. Stephen Johnson has driven from his home in Vancouver, Washington to Billings, Montana to try to find his missing mother, Laura. After a disturbing encounter with Laura's boyfriend, Greg Green, Stephen's next step is to create flyers and post them all over Billings.
When we went anywhere, we handed these out. So we went to Greg's work and we put them all over his window at work. And then he tore them all off.
We were like texting, we're like, all right, has anybody heard? Anybody heard? Like, we want to know, like, what's going on?
We woke up 8 o'clock every single morning with a place to go to, an idea in mind, with somebody to talk to just try to find something. So at the end of every day, I'm calling my brothers, telling them, here's what we did. Here's who we talked to.
It was very frustrating because this is like what you see on TV. I never thought in my life I would ever go through it.
One of the hardest things for me was dealing with the frustrations with the family, understanding their concerns, understanding their desire to have, you know, swift justice.
We can't just go to Mr. Green's residence and knock the door in and do a search without a warrant. We've got proper legal procedure. And at that time, we were lacking enough information to use the search warrant process in order to further develop Ms. Johnson's case.
It was frustrating not being able to get a real reaction. So it just felt like our duty to prove it.
We've talked to everybody who we can. We've been to the doctor's office. We've been to the Salvation Army. Everything comes up empty. We had gone through every single dead end. We had been through all of Greg's neighbors with no answer, with no solution. We were nowhere closer on day 5 than we were on day 1. And the last thing before we leave town that we figure we can do is go knock on the neighbors' houses again.
As they are knocking on the door of the neighbor across the street from Greg, Stephen sees something he hadn't noticed before.
I basically stopped and I said, hey, I think we found something. There is a camera at the one place that we're interested in.
It points right at the driveway of where Greg and Laura lived.
Stephen and Casey had talked to the owner a few days before. Now, they ring his doorbell again, hoping to get access to the footage.
And the first thing he says is, do you want to see? And I said, what are you talking about? And he goes, I have my camera footage pulled up because you were asking me about your mom. He invites me in, and for the next 35 minutes, I'm just on his floor, looking at a bunch of video. So the first thing we pull up is September 13th, the last day she went to work. And then Casey's recording it on her phone. You could speed it up. So we're going through. So we're watching the camera footage. And then this is where it gets very interesting. It's him, right here.
Keep playing.
What happens is Greg gets home first. Greg gets home and parks his truck and goes inside. And 35 minutes later, right here. Oh! My mom gets home. Right there. So that's mom.
Blonde hair.
It is 7:07 on September 13th.
God looks excited
That's
to
her.
see her.
It's her going into the house. We were told time and time again that Greg's story is, I came home and she was gone. I came home and she was gone. She had taken all of her stuff and it was gone. So we got him. He was lying. But, well, where is she? So we're watching the footage. Day turns to night.
What time is it?
Right now,
11:27? 10:27?
10:27.
There he is. The headlamp?
Headlamp on. We see Greg throughout the entire night. Right here, right here.
Yeah.
It's gonna look like he's dragging something back. Just moving, going back and forth between the house.
That's when we call the detectives, like, you need to come see this.
Stephen Johnson has discovered home security footage of his missing mother, Laura. It shows her at the house she shared with Greg Green after the time Greg told police she had left. Realizing the importance of the discovery, he calls the police.
Approximately 11:15 that night, I go to that neighbor's house and we watch the footage in question. We then start viewing the video in greater detail. And it was definitely very concerning.
The detective's trained eye spots something that Stephen and Casey missed.
The footage shows the area of the driveway where Laura Johnson is observed coming home that evening, and she's exiting the vehicle and walking toward the trailer. Gregory, he's also seen going back into the garage and coming out with 2 red-colored suitcases in that vehicle as well.
The same 2 red suitcases that Greg told officers that Laura had taken with her when she moved out. And then, the detective sees something that changes the investigation from a missing persons case to something much more disturbing.
And you can see him walking out with that large, heavy object. That's zoomed in to show that area of the vehicle where he puts what we believe is Laura's body into the vehicle. And then ultimately, he's observed putting a shovel in the back of the pickup bed before he leaves that evening just after 7 p.m. We believe that more than likely that is her body, but we need a lot more evidence to prove that at this point. That was kind of a gut-wrenching feeling to know that you just observed somebody's last moments.
What the hell did we just watch? The only logical answer is, Greg ended my mother's life that night. And finally dawns on me, after all of this, that I'll probably never get to see my mom again. Is that I'll never get another goodbye. I'll never get that closure. I'll never get the last I love you. I'll never get any of it. It's just gone.
But unless police can prove that it is Laura's body on the video, they don't have a crime. On October 5th, 3 weeks since Laura was last seen, Billings police asked Greg to come into the station for questioning.
Gregory told us what he had initially told officers. He told us that on the 13th, when he got home that evening, she was gone and her 2 red suitcases were gone.
In that video, it shows Greg pulling those suitcases out of the house and packing them up in his truck.
He seemed very surprised when we told him that there was video, and then he decided that he didn't want to talk to us anymore. We informed him that he was not going to be allowed to go back to his home. We believed that that was a crime scene at this point. The vehicle he drove to the police department was impounded at that point.
We have now crossed into full-on criminal investigation. We do believe a crime has committed.
We had probable cause at that point to seek a search warrant for his residence. But we didn't have enough information to that point to make an arrest. We executed that search warrant that evening and began to process the trailer where Gregory and Laura lived. One of the first things that we noted was the strong odor of new carpet smell. In the back room of Gregory's home, it was obvious that the carpet had been replaced very recently, and that was suspicious to us.
But because police find no proof that Laura is dead, they have to release Greg.
At this point, we still don't have a body. We still haven't located Miss Johnson. There was not enough to arrest Mr. Green for the disappearance of Miss Johnson.
It's a crushing blow to the family.
After them basically telling him, hey, we know you're lying, they let him go.
The entire family was really upset because you have all this video, but you don't arrest him. Why?
There's a lot of frustration, but I would say it was mainly based around this guy did all of this and we could just see right through him.
We work closely with the county attorney's office and trying to determine, what more we need to get to that point to make an arrest. I had to remain focused on what needed to be done to build a case against him.
While the forensics team examines Greg's seized work truck, detectives have a strategy to keep an eye on Greg.
One of the last things we did when we searched the residence is we placed a tracker on his vehicle. We believe that he did more than likely take Laura's body to some location to bury her. We placed the tracker on with the hope of he might go back out to the location.
The tracker is placed on Greg's personal car, the same one that Laura is seen driving on surveillance video on September 13th. On October 5th, hours after his interview with detectives, Greg Green starts to move.
And at approximately 10 p.m. that evening, his vehicle started to move towards the interstate, heading west outside of Billings. So we began to follow him. He drove straight through the night, and we realized that he was leaving the state.
October 5th, 2018. Greg Green is the prime suspect in the presumed murder of Laura Johnson. Lacking evidence of a crime, detectives have to let Greg walk free. But they have placed a tracker on his car, and he appears to be leaving Billings, Montana in a hurry.
His vehicle started to move towards the interstate and heading west outside of Billings.
Detectives track Greg as he drives for 16 hours across 5 states to his old hometown in Henderson, Nevada.
If you're being interviewed by police about the whereabouts of your ex-girlfriend and you just hightail it out of town, it's not a good look.
We were coordinating with law enforcement where he was at. They knew that we were tracking him. They would do drive-bys, make sure that we knew his whereabouts.
Meanwhile, Billings police continue the search for evidence to arrest Greg. Using his cell phone data, they track Greg's movements during the night of September 13th, which leads them to the local Walmart.
We were able to locate footage of him going to Walmart that evening. And when he went through the self-checkout, we did see a very distinct abrasion on his face, which we thought was very suspicious at that point.
Then, another crucial piece of evidence emerges from the forensic search of Greg's impounded work truck.
I noticed that the vehicle was very clean. It had been washed recently. So after 2 days processing that vehicle for biological material, taking swabs from various locations on the seat, we found 3 very, very small 1 to 2 millimeter stains that appeared to be blood.
That evidence came back from the crime lab, and sure enough, it was Laura's blood.
The totality of all of the evidence that we had located, including the blood on the door of that truck, and together with video footage showing him carrying out what we believed was Laura's body, at that point there was enough evidence to arrest him.
Hey, Greg. I remember you. You remember us? All right. So you know why we're here? I imagine so, yes. Okay. So, something changed or something like this, or? Well, we have a warrant for your arrest for murder homicide, so that's what's changed. That's why you're here in handcuffs. Okay. And you'll be expected back to Billings. Huh. For deliberate homicide. Deliberate homicide. Deliberate homicide. Do you want to tell us what happened with her when she came home that night And what you did with her, that's your decision. I'm not going to trust you. That's what I want to know.
I did everything that I know already.
Okay, well, we both know that's not true. So if you don't want to talk to me, we'll end up there. Okay.
After being held for 7 months in a Nevada jail, Greg is extradited to Billings. More than a year later, in February 2020, his trial is set to begin. But without Laura Johnson's body, a conviction is far from a sure thing.
We had a theory of what we believed happened, but we just didn't have a body. This is the very first case that I've ever had that involves a no-body homicide arrest. When you're trying to convict somebody of deliberate homicide and you don't have a body to go along with that, it can be very stressful.
What is your evidence? Can you really make it stick?
Drugs, surveillance video, and murder. Testimony begins in the trial of a Billings man accused of killing Laura Johnson.
We sat right behind him the entire time. I was not happy at all.
He was not taking anything seriously. I don't know if he was just in disbelief, like this is really happening, so he just kind of like went numb to it.
He maintained his innocence the entire time, even though there was video being played in the courtroom of him carrying what appeared to be Laura's body out of his house.
The evidence in this case will show you that the defendant took great lengths to cover up his murder of his girlfriend, Laura.
Prosecutors present jurors with a possible motive for the brutal murder. Laura was about to permanently end her rocky relationship with Greg.
One of the things we did learn from the trial was she had moved into a separate bedroom and she was saving money to try to leave.
He acted like he was at home sitting on his couch. And yeah, he didn't care whatsoever. He thought he was like at home watching Netflix or something.
He knew exactly where the cameras were from news media. There was a moment where he turned around, looked into the lens of our camera, and gave a little smile.
Greg's behavior at the trial only adds to the heartbreak felt by Laura's family.
That if this situation didn't happen, like I could have had my mom back. She would have been living in my town. She would have been. She would have been here. It's not fair.
How will this trial pan out without evidence of Laura Johnson's body?
This case has had so many unanswered questions. It's had so much heartache with it. And there's no body, there's no murder weapon, there's no evidence that shows he actually killed her.
Two years after Laura Johnson's final moments were captured by a home security camera, a jury in Billings, Montana is set to decide whether her boyfriend, Greg Green, is guilty of murder.
This trial lasted, 2 weeks? Monday through Friday, 8 hours a day. Didn't leave that city hall building for 2 weeks, basically.
That footage was the critical piece in the investigation and in the trial. It was a piece of evidence that the jury actually got to take back with them to deliberations, to view.
You can't escape the silent witness. You can't escape that video surveillance.
Any person with common sense to see all the evidence, and especially the video, would know he was guilty. I just got home the day before, and Steven called and said, hey, they have a verdict already. We're headed back.
The jury was out maybe 2 hours.
You don't know. You put 12 people in a room to make a decision and hope it's the right one.
To the charge of deliberate homicide. Guilty.
Ultimately, he was convicted of deliberate homicide. And he received a sentence of 100 years in the Montana State Prison.
In my 16-year career, this is the first case I've been involved in that went from a welfare check to a missing persons to a homicide without a body to a even prosecution of a homicide without a body.
And the fact that the contribution that we had was as impactful as it was, that's where the bittersweet part comes, you know? Had to extend ourselves that much.
Go through something you could never prepare yourself for.
Exactly.
If he didn't do that, then we would still be searching.
One of the key pivotal moments here was the persistence from family. And then Ms. Johnson's son coming to Billings and locating the surveillance footage. And I can only speculate, if that video had not been located or recovered, I'm not sure where we would be now.
Today, Stephen and his brothers are focused on keeping their mother's memory alive.
My mom was a part of my life every single day. I got married last year to my beautiful wife, Casey here. We had our daughter, Eliza, and Eliza's middle name is my mother's name. So her name is Eliza Laura Johnson. Big part of how my mom was as an everyday mother is the ways that I've been able to cope with her loss. So making the meals that she made, having the family dinners, you know, bringing her into my life in those little ways to keep her alive. That's what I do. She's there every time I make dinner, you know?
The only thing I have that I can hear her voice now is April 2018. She called me, but I was at work, and she left me a voicemail to tell me happy birthday. That's the only thing I have to hear her voice.
We still have the fact that we don't know where my mother lies to this day. That we have not been able to bring her home. We haven't had the sense of closure for peace. There's been no funeral, there's been no memorial, there's been nothing. If there's anything that anybody can tell us, if there's anything that sticks out, if there's a piece of property you own, if there's something you can do, if there's something you've seen, it's just, you know, to please come forward.
I'm hoping this outcome that people come forward with actual real information and it helps us find her and bring her home.
First apartment in New York City.
The online dating scene was still pretty new and fairly unregulated.
I've been single for like 5 years. I lived on Long Island forever. All of a sudden I'm in Brooklyn, I moved, and everyone's like, oh, what are you doing? Do you want to hang out? I thought you'd want to hang out. You know, it's like, no, I can't hang out. I'm in Brooklyn. You know, I moved here to find a husband.
Numerous calls come into 911 stating that someone's been struck by a vehicle on the Bell Parkway. Those last seconds of his life were seconds that he didn't deserve.
I was just shocked. Just kind of go through this point of disbelief.
It was Michael Sandy. It could have been anyone. They weren't looking for a black man. They weren't looking for a white man. They were looking for a victim.
You can feel how he must have felt when he saw these guys coming down and then running for his life.
Imagine the sheer terror that he was probably feeling.
This guy was lured to his death.
We had a rogue device on this wireless network. So the idea was, all right, well, where are they?
Kind of just feel your whole body collapse in that moment. It takes your breath away.
July 2006. Brooklyn, New York. 28-year-old Michael Sandy is on top of the world. He's just landed a job as a designer for IKEA and is finally pursuing his dreams in the big city.
This is my new apartment. This is Mike's first apartment in New York City.
And his best friend Patrick is by his side.
Michael was really excited about his first Brooklyn apartment. I mean, he was all joy. He had a laugh that could, like, carry a room.
I think it's cool. Well, it's a wrap. We finished the bed. Made much more space out of this tiny little room. It's wonderful.
I'm glad my hair has changed.
It's rocking.
Oh my gosh. I mean, what did we look like there, right? We were just absolute best friends. Comfortable, really comfortable with each other. He was that friend that would, like, do anything for you. Loyal, sensitive, compassionate. And those people don't come around very often.
Life hasn't always been easy for Michael, growing up as a young gay black man in conservative Bellport, New York.
His struggle with being gay in Long Island was definitely a thing. Some parts of it was because he wasn't necessarily, like, out to his parents, but I think that they all had this beautiful kind of unspoken understanding.
I've known Michael Sandy since we were kids. And Michael spoke very closely with his friends about who he wanted to make connections with. And being in a small town, a conservative town, and a conservative family, these things were kind of hard to explore. He wanted to work in Brooklyn, live in Brooklyn, breathe Brooklyn. So I think what was very attractive to him was really that social element and to really find a connection, to find love. I feel like he had to make that move to survive and to express who he was and to be who he was meant to be.
Michael is now living his dream in hip Williamsburg, Brooklyn, an artsy neighborhood just a quick subway ride from Manhattan.
Michael is very agile, and he made everything he did look very easy. Okay. Yeah, that was great. But he was a very natural dancer. So that was Michael dancing in a parking garage. Actually, I was filming this. We were 1 and 2 and 3 and punch and, you know, turn and spin. So we had it all choreographed. You know, it's tough to kind of think about the last time you see someone. But it was a good last in-person memory.
As much as he was so gregarious and outgoing, personally, he was very shy. He had never dated anyone. In 11 years of me knowing him, never had a boyfriend.
He was on the hunt to find love.
In the early fall of 2006, just a few months after moving to Brooklyn, Michael goes out with Patrick and a small group of friends. Another friend captures a lighthearted moment on video.
I've been single for like 5 years. I lived on Long Island forever. No one ever wanted to take me to dinner. No one would ever go out. All of a sudden, I'm in Brooklyn. I moved, and everyone's like, "Oh, what are you doing? Do you want to hang out? I thought you want to hang out." You know, it's like, no, I can't hang out. I'm in Brooklyn. What happened 5 years ago? Right? It's insane. You know, I moved here to find a husband. Let me stop.
The last time I hung out with Michael was very close to the time that he had died.
So.
On the evening of October 8th, 2006, numerous calls come into 911 stating that someone's been struck by a vehicle on the Bell Parkway.
It's 10 p.m., and the scene is a dark section of the highway near Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn, in an area known as Plum Beach.
That car never stopped. It was a hit and run. Very serious car accident. From injuries, he's unconscious.
The victim, a young black male gravely injured but still clinging to life, is rushed to Brookdale Hospital.
We have a victim. We don't know who he is. We don't know necessarily how he got there. Now we have to figure out why this occurred.
Investigators question witnesses at the scene.
This incident occurs at night when it's dark and everyone's vision is limited. No one really has a good description of the vehicle and or the license plate.
Police search the area and soon make a crucial discovery.
They come across a vehicle that's parked in a parking lot across the highway. The car was still running.
Police recover a photo ID from the vehicle. It's an unmistakable match with the man gravely injured on the parkway.
And through the documentation that they find, they come to find out that this vehicle is owned by a young man by the name of Michael Sandy. So we have a victim. We know his address. And we wanted to know why he would have driven from Williamsburg to the other side of Brooklyn at night in the dark.
Plum Beach is just a dead stretch of sand, kind of a weeded beach where nobody really takes the sun. And it's just a quiet little stretch of beach.
So something's not adding up here. What's going on?
Later that night, some eyewitnesses reveal a disturbing detail.
So some of the accounts that the officers are getting are stating that this young black male is being chased by a number of white males from the parking lot along the Bell Parkway and then being struck by a vehicle as he's being chased. So based on witness accounts, these young men now start to pull him off the highway.
His body got dragged back to the side of the road. They rifled through his pockets before running off. Witnesses saw that.
Given the races that people are specifically noting, we're wondering, is this something racially motivated? You know, this may have been a targeted attack.
A new detail about Michael's final moments comes to light.
The computer logged into America Online, and a conversation was visible on the screen.
The more police learn, the more personal and tragic the case becomes.
It all is a thing to me that stems from his willingness and wanting connection.
He left pointers, he left the breadcrumbs. And like that, I'll see you in 20 minutes was his final moments as he walked out the door.
Eyewitnesses tell police they saw Michael Sandy being chased by several unidentified white men alongside a New York City highway before he was struck by a hit-and-run driver. Hours later, in the early morning, Michael lies in a coma at Brookdale Hospital in Brooklyn.
He's unconscious, so he can't speak to us to tell us how this all went down.
Meanwhile, word of the shocking incident is slowly spreading among Michael's loved ones.
I got a phone call, and I don't believe anyone knew the full details. I didn't really receive any information other than the fact that he was in the hospital on life support.
One of my good friends called and he said Michael was in a pretty severe accident. Like I just felt my whole body fall to the ground hearing that. Then you started seeing it on the news.
I was working as a reporter for the New York Post when this happened. We were told that he was still alive, he was in critical condition, and he was unable to communicate to police exactly what happened.
We're talking to the family, kind of getting a clearer picture as to who Michael is. Yeah, they find out that Michael is 28, soon to be 29-year-old male, and he was an interior designer, and was just a super nice guy. Probably had zero enemies. And we wanted to try to figure out why he may have suddenly find himself in a conflict with other people.
When I was at the hospital, his parents were just desperately trying to find any resource and help that they could.
It wasn't until I spoke with Mr. and Mrs. Sandy to really know the severity of the impact. They were holding up. They had wonderful support with their family, but it was hard to see them hurting the way that they were.
We were able to see him, and he looked rough. I mean, his head was completely swollen. And, you know, being on life support, there was very little kind of hope in the outcome. And I was just shocked.
Yeah, you just kind of go through this point of disbelief.
All the machines beeping and blaring and all the hustle and bustle in the hospital to begin with. It was hard to fully absorb what was happening, but it was tough to see him in that position. Feels like a dream happening, very bad dream.
Detectives have little to explain the attack on Michael, other than the vague possibility it was racially motivated. So they head to Michael's apartment in Williamsburg, hoping his roommates can shed some light on his plans that evening.
So the investigators are now looking to interview his roommates. Want to find out if he has any problems. Did he have a beef with somebody? Was he looking to settle a score? You know, we need to figure out why he may have gone from Williamsburg to Chief's Head Bay, and to see maybe is there any conflict that was occurring that evening.
His roommates don't recall anything out of the ordinary that evening, but they mention that they saw Michael chatting on the internet earlier in the night. They chalk it up to some innocent online dating.
We are hearing from Michael Sandy's roommates that he is single. And like many people were doing when this whole online dating thing was starting to really take hold, he was going out and talking to people online and going out to meet them.
The internet really emerged when we were young adults. And this is one way where we could connect to people of our age and have that social interaction, even if it was a digital form of connection.
So back in 2006, the online dating scene was still pretty new and fairly unregulated. So you were talking to people online and not really knowing who was on the other end.
Now investigators begin to question if race had anything to do with the crime, or whether Michael's innocent search for love online may have led him down a dangerous path.
Every new thing has its benefits and its drawbacks. And we had seen, certainly by 2006, that the online environment was one that was being used pretty heavily by gay men in particular. And one of the drawbacks of the internet and online dating is that people will use them as avenues to target others.
So now we potentially want to look at Michael Sandy's computer to see if that is going to give us any investigative evidence to corroborate that.
Investigators find Michael's laptop in his bedroom.
Now we start to shift their attention to, did Michael Sandy maybe talk to somebody online and went to go meet them, and maybe that scenario went wrong?
To explore the possibility that a crime may have originated on the internet, investigators reach out to computer specialist Denise Dragos.
The New York City Police Department had one of the very first computer crime units in the country. It was called CIT back in those days, Computer Investigation and Technology Unit. Eventually, it became the Computer Crime Squad. The detective squad, they needed assistance to actually handle the laptop as evidence and preserve what was visible on the screen and whatever else may be on that computer. So I got my kit together, which we would bring out to digital crime scenes. Hard drives, USB drives, other tools potentially that may come in handy, and we responded. The computer was logged into America Online, and a conversation was visible on the screen.
New York City police believe a computer chat may have lured Michael Sandy into an attack. As Michael lays gravely injured in the hospital, NYPD computer specialist Denise Dragos discovers that Michael's computer is still logged into a chat room on America Online.
The chat conversation happened the evening of the 8th. Before the incident, basically it's two users, Fisheye Fox, and a second account which went by the screen name Drum and Bass 007, which is Michael's account. They're having a conversation. They're talking about potentially smoking marijuana together. And, they say how old each of them are, what they look like.
So in the initial conversation that Michael Sandy's having with this fish-eyed fox, they agree to meet up. They talk about meeting up in Plum Beach, Brooklyn, which is where he is struck by a vehicle.
They make plans to meet there at 8 o'clock, but it's clear that things didn't go as planned.
So searching through Michael's AOL chat history, when they meet up, Fish-Eyed Fox is not alone. There are other people around, which makes Michael Sandy feel uneasy. So he gets spooked and he leaves.
By 8:45, Michael returns to the chat from his apartment in Williamsburg.
He goes back to his computer, and Fish-Eyed Fox is saying, hey, what happened to you, and why'd you leave? And Michael Sandy says, well, I thought we were meeting one-on-one, and there were other people around, so it just felt weird, so I left. And now Fish-Eyed Fox is trying to convince him, oh, yeah, I don't know who those guys were, or, we can just meet one-on-one, it'll just be the two of us. So come on back out, and we'll meet up again.
By 10 o'clock, Michael is found by the side of the parkway just yards from the Plum Beach parking lot.
It all is a thing to me that stems from his willingness and wanting connection. Like, so much went out of his brain for that possibility. And the real hard part is that he just didn't listen to his instinct that day. And he went back.
Looking back, I got the impression that he might have had an idea of what he was doing was potentially risky. I don't think it was an accident that he left his computer on with the chat window open. He left pointers, he left the breadcrumbs. And like that, I'll see you in 20 minutes was his final moments as he walked out the door.
Police now believe this online chat between Michael and Fisheye Fox is a key piece of evidence, and they're hoping it may lead them to a suspect.
We started doing live system analysis at the time, just to preserve the information that was there. So even without touching it, did little old school pictures, traditional pictures of it, just to make sure that even if it crashed, at least we had that. We were running special software on the machines, which copied out all of the system memory to an external drive. So that in that case, we were able to get a lot of information and preserve it forensically in real time.
For investigators, it's now imperative that they track down the man Michael was chatting with, who goes by the screen name Fisheye Fox. But due to privacy laws, that will require a court order.
You have to remember, back in 2006, the internet was a very different place. Some of these social media companies were not necessarily forthcoming with information about their clients.
We started doing the process to subpoena America Online to see who owns this Fisheye Fox account, if we could identify that person.
On October 9th, a day after Michael Sandy was struck on the Belt Parkway, the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office issues a subpoena to America Online to disclose the name of the individual who goes by the chat handle Fisheye Fox.
So in the investigation, we come to find out that Fisheye Fox is a screen name that is owned by someone by the name of John Fox, who has an IP address that comes back to Brooklyn. And thus, the investigators now go to that address in Brooklyn where the ping of this IP address is coming back to.
The address on Brigham Street is just a few blocks from Plum Beach in Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn, where Michael was struck.
It was a row houses on this block on Brigham Street. We pretty much set up a surveillance operation with numerous detectives in different cars. And as all the teams are sitting there, somebody shows up at that house and walks up to the front gate. All of the police cars, come screeching up, and the detectives jump out and approach the individual. We identified ourselves as being detectives, NYPD. And he says, "What's going on, guys?"
NYPD detectives have tracked the source of a computer chat room message they believe was used to lure Michael Sandy to a vicious attack. Based on the IP address linked to the message, they descend on a house in Brooklyn.
The gentleman lived at that address. He said, "I just got off work. Can I help you guys?" So we asked him his name.
The chat room message was from a user called Fisheye Fox, who police have identified as John Fox. But that is not the man's name. And there's no one named John Fox who lives at his address.
So that was a little bit of a pucker moment. Like, oh crap. We asked, "Do you have internet service?" He goes, "Yeah, as a matter of fact, I just got a new router." So we're like, "All right, can we come inside and talk to you about a situation?" He goes, "Yeah, come on inside." As soon as we walk into the kitchen, right there on the kitchen table, we can see a brand new wireless router.
So new that no security has been set up on it yet. Detective Dragos realizes that means anyone could have tapped into this internet service. And a quick check reveals her theory to be correct.
It appeared that now we had a rogue device on this wireless network. The homeowner just had a new router and it wasn't secured and was logged into surreptitiously by this Fisheye Fox user.
Detective Dragos knows that if the rogue device is logged into this router, it must be close by, within range of the Wi-Fi signal.
All right, well, where are they? They have to be within a stone's throw. So let's try and figure out where they are right now. So I'm like, I can try to talk to them and stir the pot and see what happens. So I have an undercover account and I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" It was just a shot in the dark to see, if I could figure out where the heck this computer was. I get a response from Fisheye Fox. So now I'm talking to Fisheye Fox myself. And so I'm like, "Hey, what's going on? How you been? When are we getting together?" And he's, I'm back at school. So we're confounded right now.
Detective Dragos reaches out to her contact at America Online, who is able to determine that John Fox, aka Fisheye Fox, is now chatting from a different location entirely.
And we're like, "Well, what's this other location?" And they said it goes back to SUNY Maritime, which is State University of New York Maritime College, which was a college, in the Bronx.
A check with the campus security office reveals there is a sophomore enrolled at SUNY Maritime named John Fox.
It was after midnight, I'm sure, at that point. And basically, we all responded in a caravan from that location. Everybody drove out to the Bronx to go and talk to John Fox.
The investigators coordinate with SUNY campus police to locate John Fox's dorm room.
It's 1 a.m. in the morning, and now you're going to talk to someone whose part in this whole thing is still unclear. We do know that John Fox is connected to the screen name that Michael Sandy was talking to. So everyone's antennas are up.
When the 19-year-old student comes to the door, he appears surprised, but his demeanor is calm.
So the investigators are now talking to John Fox at his dorm, and they're asking him, what was your weekend like? And he proceeds to tell them, well, I was just hanging out with some friends, and we were just drinking some beers, just chilling out for the weekend, just a few friends having a good time. During this interview, John Fox starts to get nervous, and his answers start to contradict themselves. This is going from an interview turning into an interrogation.
John Fox agrees to accompany the detectives to the 61st Precinct in Brooklyn.
John Fox is saying in his statement that he and Anthony Fortunato and Gary Timmons and the Russian kid, Alex, are hanging out by a local deli. They decide to go back to the house where John Fox logs into the computer. And he admits that Fish-Eyed Fox is his screen name, but that his friends must have been using his screen name to have a conversation, because he knew nothing about this conversation. But then he starts to turn around and say, well, we were just looking to have a little fun. What does that mean? What does it mean that we're looking to have a little fun? And he starts to basically incriminate himself. And he claims Anthony Fortunato is the one who sort of hatched this scheme to go into a gay chat room, talk with someone who's looking to meet up with another man, and then meet up with that person to rob them under the assumption that the gay man won't go to the police.
The reality that some folks actually feel a certain amount of shame, and so they would be less likely to report. They would be less likely to make a complaint.
It was a very powerful set of facts. There was something particularly chilling about how this man was lured out to his death, basically.
Could have been anyone. They weren't looking for a black man, they weren't looking for a white man, they were looking for a victim. And unfortunately, they chose Michael Sandy.
John Fox admits to NYPD detectives that he, Anthony Fortunato, and a group of their friends used the screen name Fish-Eye Fox in a chat room to set up a meeting with Michael Sandy under the guise of a date, with the intention of robbing him.
So they met on the street. John Fox and him had a brief conversation, and Fortunato and then a couple of their other friends actually were in the area. So Michael got spooked. His spidey sense was tingling. He left. All was good.
Detectives believe that while Michael returned home, John Fox and his friends didn't want to give up.
They start drinking beers again, and they say, oh, maybe we can find somebody else. In the interim, Michael reaches back out. I said, hey, I just want to hang out with you. I don't want to do a group thing, so let's just me and you hang out. So John was like, all right, cool, we'll do that. So he came back.
They all get to Plum Beach, and they approach a blue Mazda, which is Michael Sandy's car. Alex starts to assault Michael Sandy. Michael Sandy breaks away from the assault, and they start to chase him.
Where was he going to go? If they were going to prevent him from getting into his car, he's going onto the highway.
Imagine the sheer terror that he was probably feeling when he's chased onto a busy highway, running for his life and running into a speeding vehicle. Those last seconds of his life were seconds that he didn't deserve.
That car takes off, never stops. And then the men, they drag him to the side of the road. One of them goes into his pockets, empties everything, and they take off.
John Fox, he says they all fled the scene, and then they all went back to the house, and they were all shaken up by this whole scenario.
It's almost like classic Stupid Kids, but there was a coldness about it as well.
Police begin to investigate the friends John Fox says took part in the scheme. And when they learn the home address of Anthony Fortunato, the pieces of the puzzle start to come together. Fortunato's house is next door to the Brooklyn home the detectives visited the night before, where a rogue computer was logged into the Wi-Fi.
So they go to Anthony Fortunato's house to talk to him, and he claims, yeah, I'll come talk to you. I'm just gonna get a lawyer and I'll come down to the station to talk to you guys.
But Fortunato never shows up at the precinct as promised.
Then suddenly we get a call from his mother stating that, well, Anthony can't come talk to you because he's in the hospital. He tried to kill himself. However, John Fox has implicated two other people, Gary Timmons and this other kid known as the Russian kid, Alex. So the investigators looking through MySpace with the information given to them by John Fox find out Russian kid's true identity is now revealed by someone by the name of Ilya Shurov. So now investigators can go talk to them.
Fox, Timmons, and Shirov all confess to their roles in the attack, pointing to Fortunato as the mastermind of the plan. Meanwhile, at Brookdale Hospital, Michael Sandy's family is facing a terrible choice.
So Michael Sandy's in the hospital unconscious. He's dying. He's not going to recover. The doctors know this. Doctors make the family aware of this. And he will never be the person that he was.
On October 12th, Michael Sandy spends his 29th birthday with his family holding vigil in his ICU room. They know they are spending their final moments with him.
They wanted to wait so that he didn't die on his birthday.
So a day after his 29th birthday, his family made that awful, awful decision.
I received a call from Mrs. Sandy and said, we took Michael off life support. So, just always thinking that this can't be true, but, these emotions just kind of come over you. I'm still trying to process it. But, you kind of go through those moments when you can and be supportive for the family. But you kind of just feel your whole body collapse in that moment. It literally takes your breath away, in that moment.
You need to let him go. You feel robbed. You really, especially when it comes with an act that has such malice for anything of joy and life and love.
Investigators now have statements from 3 of their suspects, But they still can't speak with Anthony Fortunato, the alleged mastermind of the scheme, who remains hospitalized after his suicide attempt. While they wait for his condition to improve, they execute a search warrant at his home.
We go back out to the location, and when law enforcement gets there, they said, all right, you're looking for computers, here's our computer. This is the only computer we have. But we're able to actually look at the computer and immediately say, no, that's not the computer we're looking for, because, you know, it is mapped to the manufacturer. And in this case, we knew we were looking for a Dell computer. The computer that they happened to like pull out of a hat and say was the only computer in the house was not a Dell. So we were like, no, try again. And they didn't have any other computers that they were willing to voluntarily turn over. So a search of the residence commenced as authorized by the search warrant. Hidden in the basement was a Dell laptop. That was the computer that was connected to the IP address that was connected to Fisheye Fox during the crime. So we knew we found what we were looking for. It basically was the smoking gun.
By the time Fortunato is released from the hospital, Kings County prosecutors are prepared to act. They now have everything they need to file charges of attempted robbery and manslaughter, but they're also considering a unique enhancement to the charges that's rarely been tried before.
This was a real social problem that people were being targeted as victims of a crime because they belonged to certain groups. And in this case, they were looking to select a gay person, and that's what they did. That is the element that establishes the hate crime.
Four men are facing charges in the attack that killed Michael Sandy. And prosecutors are prepared to also try them on a rare and untested set of charges.
This was one of the first cases I can recall clearly where the hate crimes enhancement was actually used in New York State for an anti-gay murder. And I think it was important for the community for this to be called what it was. It had a lot of meaning for people.
On October 25th, 2006, John Fox, Ilya Shurov, and Anthony Fortunato are indicted on charges of second-degree murder, attempted robbery, and manslaughter as a hate crime. That same day, Gary Timmons, who was a minor at the time of the crime, pleads guilty to attempted robbery in the second degree.
You want to make sure that when a case is tried as a hate crime, it has to specifically plug into the statutes of the hate crimes law. And the sentence that is usually handed down is a much heavier sentence.
But as the date of trial approaches in October 2007, nearly a year to the day from the attack on Michael at Plum Beach, Anthony Fortunato's attorney mounts a stunning defense to the hate crime charges.
Fortunato tried to pull a rabbit out of the hat and said it can't be a hate crime because he came out of the closet himself. He identified himself as being a gay man and said that because he's gay, it can't be a hate crime because you can't hate gay people if you're gay also.
It was an extremely flimsy defense legally because hate is not an aspect of the crime itself. That's not something that the prosecution has to establish in order to establish somebody's guilt of a hate crime. He could have mixed motives, but it doesn't get him off the hook. From the get-go, the whole plan was based on targeting a gay person.
John Fox and Anthony Fortunato are acquitted of murder, but convicted of manslaughter and attempted robbery as hate crimes, receiving sentences of 7 to 21 years. A month later, Ilya Shurov pleads guilty to the same charges and receives a sentence of 17.5 years. Gary Timmons, who testifies as a prosecution witness, receives a 4-year sentence.
When they were found guilty, it was a natural release to have some vindication, but I don't know about the justice part.
I absolutely cannot say as to whether or not justice was served in this case. Maybe it's for Michael's parents to answer that question, for Michael's soul or spirit to answer that question, even in an odd way for his perpetrators to answer that question. Because I would have a hard time feeling that justice were served if they did not come to understand the gravity and tragedy of what they did.
This case sort of impacted me on a personal level. Back in 2006, I was a single gay man on the internet, talking to people and meeting up with people. For all practical purposes, I could have been Michael Sandy.
Michael Sandy's closest friends are left with nothing now, except their memories, and a few artifacts of his last days, like this video from the fall of 2006, when he enjoyed a final evening out in Brooklyn with his friends.
Can I put my glasses on?
I've been single for like 5 years. I lived on Long Island forever. No one ever wanted to take me to dinner. No one to ever go out. You know, I moved here to find a husband.
That is too much. You heard his laugh.
You know, I moved here to find a husband.
He was a wonderful human being from head to toe.
Wonderful. Okay, it's rocking.
He exudes this wonderful light that shines and magical laughter and smiles. And we love life to the fullest.
Today was a sucky day, but at the same time, it makes me laugh so hard.
I know that if he was my boyfriend and was in love with me, I know he would be amazing. I cannot wait to see him.
I texted asking if she was okay, and she never texted back.
I asked her friends, acquaintances, anybody, if you have seen her, contact me. By 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm in full mode panic.
And then I told her, we need to go to Grand Rapids.
It was like time stood still. We knew something was wrong.
That's when I see blood. I'd yell at my girlfriend, call the cops, call the cops.
I opened the bag, and there were human limbs inside that bag.
I remember thinking, what kind of animal does this to a person?
Autumn 2018, Kalamazoo, Michigan. 31-year-old Ashley Young is pursuing her dream of becoming a language interpreter.
Ashley wanted to explore. She wanted to learn any culture. It didn't matter who you were, you know? She was gonna ask you questions and ask how your day was.
So let's talk about my morning and how amazing, and I promise none of this is exaggerated or made up. It is, you can't make this up, okay?
I always told her, you can do anything, you can be anything that you want. You just need to put your mind to it.
To make ends meet, Ashley works nights at a bank call center.
She loved that job. She was helping people with their accounts if they had questions, and she could put their mind at ease.
During the day, Ashley takes language classes at Kalamazoo Community College.
So anyways, have a good day. I really am going to go get ready for class now, and sorry for talking a lot, but that's just me.
Ashley was positive, always positive. We called her Sunshine.
Today was a sucky day, but at the same time, it makes me laugh so hard.
Ashley was always on social media. She was the light, the conscience you never knew you really needed. And the times that you were frustrated, she put it in perspective for you. Like, you know, you could have it worse.
I hope I at least made you smile and made you realize that, you know, your day is probably going a hell of a lot better than mine.
I met Christine in 2002. Ashley and her mom were best buddies, and I had to be that step parent. But we made it, you know. Ashley was just lovable and joyful.
I met Ashley the first day of 10th grade. We had a couple classes together. We had choir together. We'd sit in our car for hours just talking in her mom's driveway, listening to music, singing, and just being silly girls. And then after school, we're still inseparable.
After high school, Ashley puts her dreams of studying languages on hold. She works a series of jobs, and when she is 24 years old, she meets Moody Farran. The two quickly fall in love, and within a couple of years, are living together.
She had never really dated or been with anyone until Moody, and he was her first love. She adored him, and he adored her, and it was just like a little fairy tale.
Moody loved her, and he had already, gave her a promise ring. They were together almost 7 years.
But by 31, Ashley has decided to make big changes in her life. Not only is she in school working towards her dream job, but she also decides that it's time to end her long-time relationship.
She was trying to balance work and going to school, and they were both kind of just at a different point in their life.
After the breakup, on November 10th, 2018, she surprises her best friend Samantha with a trip to Detroit.
She took me to Detroit to go to a concert to go see Tash Sultana, an artist that I love. That trip was amazing.
This is Facebook Live, by the way. Oh, wonderful. Oh, you look so pretty.
After our concert, we just talked about life, just talked about where we were both at that time, about her and Moody, and about how she was going to be moving out. She was nervous, but it gave her something to look forward to. When she brought me home, I didn't know that was going to be the last time I ever saw her.
A week later, on November 18th, Ashley meets her mom, Christine, to begin packing up her things from the home she shares with Moody.
Her and Moody were moving out of their apartment, so we put everything into storage for her.
Ashley asks her mom to come with her at the end of the month when she'll sign the lease on a new apartment.
Ashley was beyond ecstatic about getting this apartment. Talking to her, you would have thought she was winning $1 million. You would have thought she was decorating a mansion, the way she would talk. And that was the last time I saw Ashley.
On Wednesday, November 28th, the night before Ashley is scheduled to sign her lease, she goes out for the evening. Ashley checks in with her mom, but does not say where she is headed or who she is meeting.
The last time I got a message from Ashley was at 5:55. And she said that she was almost to her destination. That's not Ashley. Ashley would say, you know,
I'm at Walmart or
yeah, wherever she was, but she said destination.
The morning of the lease signing comes, and Christine does not hear from Ashley.
I sent her a message first thing in the morning. I'm like, where are you? Where are you? And all day, I'm not getting anything. There was something wrong. I called Ashley's work, but nobody has heard from her. And that's when it starts hitting me. Where is she? And it just snowballed from there. You're not answering. I am worried. You don't tell people where you are going. You don't have to tell me, but damn it, you need to tell someone. I need to know you're okay. You need to contact someone and let somebody know. November 30th in the morning, I called the police to file a missing persons report.
Officers talked to some people that were close to Ashley to see if they knew where she was or could account for her whereabouts, and they could not. When we get a missing person report and the person happens to be 31 years old, that could mean a number of things. Maybe the person doesn't want to be found or is just away with friends and having a good time. So it's generally not assigned to a full-blown investigation at that point.
But Ashley's loved ones have a sinking feeling something is wrong. And they know that this is all happening in the wake of a big breakup.
when she broke up with Moody, I think, Moody didn't really want it.
When somebody goes missing, especially young women, a partner or a potential partner, somebody that they know and that they trust or that they're potentially intimate with, tends to be the person that might harm them.
As the day goes on and you're not hearing anything, panic starts to set in. So I called Moody and I asked him, where is she?
Investigators catch a glimpse of Ashley's final moments.
You can see him kind of turn around, he's pointing at something, he's talking to somebody, and then eventually Ashley joins him.
And race to determine who she was with.
He seemed to be a person prone to violence and unpredictable.
Before the unthinkable happens.
I tell the dispatcher, I need officers fast.
I see a lot of death. This one stands out in my career as a horrific scene.
November 30th, 2018. 31-year-old Ashley Young has not contacted her family in more than 24 hours.
At midnight, I'm flipping out a little bit. By 7 o'clock in the morning, I'm in full mode panic. And I remember I called my supervisor. And I said, I'm not going to be in today. And she said, okay, is there anything I can do? The first words out of my mouth were pray. Just needed to pray.
Ashley's family is worried her disappearance might have something to do with her recent breakup with her boyfriend, Moody.
prior to them actually breaking up. Ashley told me there had been a couple arguments and their relationship did hit a couple walls.
But Moody appears genuinely distraught about Ashley's disappearance.
He starts panicking because he don't know where Ashley is, and that's why he got with us in the middle of the night. Moody was right there with us, looking for her. And he was so hurt and so upset. Moody loved her, and I knew she loved him too.
When Moody provides police with information about his whereabouts for the past several days, he is cleared by law enforcement. Christine makes a plea to Ashley's friends.
I put out on Facebook that I haven't heard from her, can't get in contact with her. I asked her friends, acquaintances, anybody, if you have seen her, contact me.
Meanwhile, Christine uncovers a possible lead on Facebook.
Christine goes into her daughter's Facebook activity and is able to see that she's been communicating with a person named Jared Chance in recent days.
Jared Chance is an old friend of Ashley's.
6 years ago, they spent a lot of time together hanging out as friends. There might have been an attraction there, you know, but Ashley was not that type because she was in that relationship with Moody. And then Jared disappeared. So she never heard from him in 6 years. During our trip to Detroit to go to the concert, she had said that he was really reaching out. They started talking more and more, and then Jared called her because he needed a ride home. And so she went and helped him. And so then he wanted to take her out as a thank you.
In the wake of her breakup with Moody, Ashley has just begun to dip her toes into the dating pool.
She was texting me about having feelings for Jared, just asking for advice on what do you think I should say? Should I say this or should I say that? And yeah, I just want to get it perfect.
Ashley leaves another friend a voicemail expressing her excitement about Jared.
Jared is so hard to read, but I know that if he was my boyfriend and he actually was in love with me, I know he would be amazing. I cannot wait to see him on Wednesday.
Wednesday, November 28th, the night Ashley vanished.
Once I found out that Ashley was with Jared, I asked if anybody had his phone number.
One of Ashley's friends does. So Christine calls Jared to see if he can help.
She asks him, "Do you know where my daughter is? Do you have any information?" And he said that they were actually together the previous night, but that she went home and that he has no idea what happened to her.
Jared said that Ashley and him had been to Mulligan's Bar in Easttown, Grand Rapids. And then I told Christine, we need to go to Grand Rapids. We need to go see where she was. Follow her footsteps.
Grand Rapids is about an hour north of Kalamazoo, where Ashley lives.
Grand Rapids is a college town. It's a huge city. It's the second largest city in the state of Michigan.
Ashley's moms arrive at Mulligan's on November 30th.
So I talked with the bartender at Mulligan's, and we were able to go look at the security footage. You could see Jared and Ashley wandering around the bar. She ordered a drink. She's smiling. She's laughing. She's being Ashley. I wanted to pull her off the screen and take her home.
But the footage doesn't show her leaving the bar. Despair and desperation start sinking in for Ashley's loved ones.
It was like time stood still, you know, in a sense, and you just had that pit in your stomach. You knew something was wrong.
And we just went, driving around Grand Rapids looking for Ashley. We walked down the railroad tracks. We poked around ponds, lakes.
There was nothing. It's almost like you think you're dreaming, but you're not dreaming. Everything was a wild goose chase.
Friday, November 30th, 2018. Christine Young has had no luck finding her missing daughter, Ashley. But she has discovered that Ashley was last seen at a bar with a friend named Jared Chance on the night she disappeared. She takes what she's learned to the Grand Rapids police.
Christine Young asked for the police department to help, but if it was Jared, we need evidence, you know. You can develop theories, but theories won't get you a search warrant. Theories won't get you an arrest warrant. You need evidence. You need facts.
Frustrated, Christine reaches out again to Jared. He previously told her that he and Ashley went their separate ways after going to the bar on November 28th. She begs him to share anything else he can remember.
And that's when he told me about Demetrius.
Jared says Ashley was talking to a guy he knows named Demetrius Taylor that night at the bar. The relentless mothers track him down.
When we got there, he's like, I don't know, Ashley. I don't know your daughter at all. And he opened up his phone and showed the text messages where Jared said, hey, Ashley's mom's gonna call you, and you have to say that Ashley was just with you, and you guys were just together. And Christine was reading it, and she's like, no. Demetrius said, you can copy it, give it to the police, whatever you need to do. Even though we didn't know him, we kind of hit it off. And because he was compassionate and was understanding what Christine was going through, and he said he has kids, he understands.
After that point, I think everybody kind of knew that we just didn't get the whole story from Jared.
It just became more and more plain that Jared was trying to stall.
I had always told her that I didn't think that he was good for her. I didn't think that he necessarily had the best intentions for her, or that he knew how to be a good man.
Christine and Dana decide to head to Jared's apartment to confront him face to face. That same afternoon, a resident of downtown Grand Rapids makes a shocking discovery.
I was living in Grand Rapids on Franklin Street. 2 apartments downstairs, single father, custody of my 12-year-old daughter. My girlfriend had been complaining about a bad smell in the apartment for, about a day and a half. And me, I'm thinking, it's dead mice in the walls or something. But the smell was definitely strong. My cat runs in the basement. So I had to go to retrieve my cat. So I opened the door so the light from the day could shine down into the basement so I could see. As I go down the stairs, I see the tarp on the floor. That's when I see blood. I make it to the top of the stairs at full speed. I'd yell at my girlfriend, call the cops, call the cops.
Our house been having a real bad smell lately. So I just went in the basement, opened the basement door, and there's a tarp, and what looks like it could be blood leaking from it. And I want the police to come here ASAP right now and look at it.
Alright, so it's the lower level apartment room?
Yes.
I'm not the smartest man in the world, but there's blood, there's trouble. I'm thinking I'm a father. Like, I have a daughter at home. Like, I need officers fast.
Please send somebody right now, because I don't know what it is, but it looks like blood is leaking from it, and I'm not going to touch the type or anything like that.
GRPD showed up at that address not too long afterwards. Like most police agencies, you know, they all have body cameras on now.
Okay. Where are we going? Share basement?
And so we're able to watch the officers go into the basement. And it's like watching a horror movie, because they're going through this darkened basement that's lit by flashlights. They look at the tarp and see something that they will never ever forget.
Everybody back out. Let's just get in there. Everybody back out. Let's just get in there.
On December 2nd, 2018, Grand Rapids police officers make a horrific discovery in the basement of an apartment building.
I'm standing in the driveway like, oh, this can't be. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not real. This is not real. This is not happening. The police asked me, can they search my house? Of course, like, please.
Among the officers who respond is the detective who Christine has asked for help in her search for Ashley.
By the time I got there, there were officers in front and back of the house, making sure that nobody went in or came out without us knowing it.
Okay, the tarp is laying on the stairs, the last 3 stairs.
I then entered the house, went down into the basement where this tarp was found. So this tarp was quite large and it had a zipper on it. I unzipped the bag and we then discover the body of a woman with the arms and legs and head missing. I remember thinking, who are we dealing with here? You know, what kind of animal does this to a person?
Police have now discovered this horrendous scene, and they know that they have a body, but all of the identifying features have been removed, so they don't know who is dead and they don't know who potentially killed them. There's multiple occupants in this multi-dwelling residence.
Police on the search warrant! Come to the door!
Who do you think they found living in the upstairs apartment?
What's your name? What's your last name? Your chance?
Jared was secured in a police car and transported to our headquarters. It didn't take long to realize that this case was going to be different than most.
I see a lot of death, all methods, and this one, it stands out in my career as a horrific scene. I went up the stairs looking for the rest of the body. When I entered the second level apartment, there was a large brown stain on the kitchen floor. I look in the bathroom and noted there wasn't a shower curtain in the bathtub. I remember looking at one of the floor vents and I pulled the grate off, and then I saw cartridges, small caliber. A lot of different areas that we found tested positive for blood. Clearly, something bad happened and somebody tried to cover it up. As we made our way out of the apartment back to the stairwell, we found a box about midway on the landing. So I start to open the box, and I see a black trash bag. I opened the bag, and there were human limbs inside that bag. There are 2 legs, and there are 2 arms, and there are no hands, and there are no feet.
At that very moment, Ashley's family is headed to Jared's to confront him for sending them on a wild goose chase with Demetrius Taylor. They have no idea that it is now a crime scene.
We pulled up at 6 o'clock and the yellow tape was around Jared's house. I was screaming at the officer that was stopping us from going any further. And I'm telling him, my stepdaughter's up there. My stepdaughter was with Jared. And he said, ma'am, I can't tell you anything. And I said, well, her mom's right over there. And the only thing he could say is, go tell mom not to leave.
And I'm like, no. It can't be. It's not Ashley. It's not.
I didn't want to believe it. The police explained that they were doing DNA because it was that bad. They couldn't recognize her.
Without the confirmation from DNA, we certainly couldn't say these remains belonged to Ashley. But it was pretty clear to everybody involved that the remains were very likely to be, unfortunately, Ashley's. I just have to prove it.
Police now have the one person who can explain the gruesome scene in their custody.
So Jared was kept in our county jail, but the investigation doesn't stop. We found 2 spent .22 casings in the apartment, which led me to believe that this was a shooting. We'd also found out that Jared Chance did have a .22 caliber pistol that was now missing. So at this point, we have a body found in Jared Chance's house. At the same time, we have Jared Chance present in the house. We certainly would like to hear from Jared what happened.
Grand Rapids police have discovered female remains in the building where Jared Chance lives. They need Jared to tell them if this is Ashley Young.
Jared Chance was taken into custody and transported to our headquarters. So I asked Detective Fan and Detective Bray to attempt an interview with him.
Can you hang tight just for a sec? We'll get your cuffs up, okay? All right.
Want me to take them off, the cuffs? Or?
Yeah, you gonna be decent with us? All right.
Initially, Jared was somewhat talkative.
You guys stay busy, don't you?
Huh?
You guys stay busy, don't you?
Pretty much.
He wasn't rude. Almost seemed like it was just another day. Didn't really ask why he was there.
Thank you.
Hi, Jared.
My dad just recommended me to just ask for the advice of the attorney, and because I don't really know what the hell's going on, so I don't want to like sit here and talk about that may incriminate me or whatever in any kind of way, because I don't know what's going on. So I just don't want to say nothing right now.
He exercised his right to counsel at that point and didn't tell us anything.
So on the evening of December 2nd, Jared is charged with the mutilation of a body and concealing a crime.
Our next step in our investigation is to utilize, every avenue we have for a timeline. We had phone records, placing them together, 28th into the 29th, and then seems the activity stopped, and her phone, in essence, just disappeared. But Ashley had been seen at a pub with Jared Chance here in the city.
By the time we found out that they were at Mulligan's, that video is gone. Local businesses don't keep all their video forever, but because of Christine's doggedness, she had already seen the video.
Hoping for additional evidence to solidify the case against Jared, investigators comb through more footage from businesses near Mulligan's.
So we did obtain video from a local business called the Pita House. And it's dated November 29th, and it's approximately 1:30 in the morning. It shows Jared walking in front of the business. There he goes right now, just kind of strolling along. And then, a few seconds later, that's Ashley there. And once again, we see Jared walk into screen, and then eventually Ashley joins him.
We know clearly from the video that Ashley is still alive on the early morning hours of the 29th. It was crucial in trying to pinpoint what her final moments were. We also found really crucial video at a party store, Miss Tracy's, which was in essence right across the street from Jared's house. Inside the store, we see Jared Chance purchasing alcohol and ammonia, a cleaning product. We suspected that some extensive cleaning had been attempted in the apartment, and then we just so happened to have Jared buying cleaning supplies that day.
And then on one of the videos, we see that he's approaching, and we see him put something into the garbage bin right outside the front of the business. And of course, that's of interest to us.
And that led us to then the dumpster behind the party store, which happened to have Ashley's purse in it.
Based on the evidence, we were fairly confident that Jared killed Ashley in the wee hours of the 29th.
But this theory remains speculation until authorities can officially confirm the body parts found belong to Ashley.
Waiting for the DNA test was one of the worst times of my life.
I didn't want to believe, and neither did Chris. If this isn't her, then she's still out there somewhere. She's missing. So we're still looking.
Ultimately, they came back a few days later and said that all of the evidence that had any sort of blood tissue on it belonged to Ashley Young. So we knew that definitively then that Ashley Young had died.
I never thought anyone could bring that much pain to so many people. I never thought about murder.
You always see it on TV.
And it's never going to happen to us. But it does. I just want to know where the rest of Ashley is. I want to bring her home.
Investigators are also determined to find the rest of Ashley's body to help them build a stronger case against Jared. They hope his cell phone data might lead them to her.
Using cell phone records, we knew that Jared had made his way out to Holland, which is a little city just west of Grand Rapids. And that's where Jared's parents live.
Our interest in the parents was they were with Jared on the same day that we made the discovery of the body. The fact that Jared wasn't talking to us, we hoped maybe the parents would lead us, to some of the answers that we were looking for. And so we go and take a trip to Holland. James Chance, Jared's father, answered the door. I explained to him that we had a search warrant, that this was non-negotiable, that his house was going to be searched. I spent the next several hours with the Chance family. while our detectives and other officers and forensic techs processed and searched their house. His father was a retired police officer, and he made a comment about, I'm glad I'm not investigating this case, that this is a tough case. And I started thinking, how do you know it's a tough case? What do you know about this?
December 5th, 2018. Investigators are at Jared Chance's family home in Holland, Michigan. They want to know if his parents have any information about Ashley Young's murder.
But they opted not to speak about specifics without consulting an attorney.
While Jared's parents are tight-lipped, the scene inside their home speaks volumes.
A Sawzall was found in that house. There was tissue observed on the blade.
In the Honda CR-V, which was in the garage, we found a small trace of blood.
They also located a bloody shower curtain that also was connected to Jared's apartment in Grand Rapids.
The evidence throughout the home convinces investigators that Jared's parents helped him cover up his crimes.
It was a shocking revelation for all of us.
Within 3 to 4 hours, Jared Chance is charged with murder, and his parents are charged with being accessories after the fact in the mutilation of a body.
We learned that they drove to Grand Rapids on Saturday, December 1st. Jared loaded some boxes into their Honda. Jared got in the car, and they proceeded then to return to Holland. One of the main goals is trying to locate Ashley's head, hands, and feet. I appealed to them as parents, trying to get them to consider how Ashley's family was feeling. And essentially I got very little. Jared seemed to be a person prone to violence and unpredictable.
He seemed to be a troubled young man that had a lot of various problems and couldn't hold a job, didn't have very close connections to friends and family.
Ashley wants to fix people, and I think that that's what she saw in Jared. She was the one person who actually wanted to believe in him and push him to do better.
Ashley believed there's always good in everyone. But what she didn't realize is there's not always good in everyone.
What changed? What flipped? From the minute that they were at that bar and having the night that they had to what he did to her in a basement.
The burning question, what happened in the final moments between Ashley and Jared, remains pure speculation.
I think he made a pass at her. That was my first instinct. And she rejected him. And then I think he killed her.
The trial begins today for a man accused of murdering and dismembering a Kalamazoo County woman.
Whether it was showing these horrific photos to the jury, listening to the forensic techs who had to open up this box and find Ashley's limbs, throughout the entire process, Jared showed zero emotion the entire time.
Now the trial is in the hands of the jury.
The defendant is, under count 1, guilty of second-degree murder. Under count 2, guilty of tampering with evidence.
Ultimately, the jury convicted Jared Chance of second-degree murder, tampering with evidence, of mutilating a body, of failure to report a death. Every single charge that was before them, they convicted him of.
Jared Chance is sentenced to 100 to 200 years. When the sentencing was handed down, her mother got in front of this entire courtroom.
I cry 7 days a week. 7! Jared Chance, I hate you. I want to rip you limb from limb.
Jared's parents now must face justice.
Barbara Chance decides to take a plea, and she actually only serves 45 days in jail. But the father, James, decides to take it to trial. James Chance is acquitted of perjury, but is convicted of an accessory after the fact. So he gets a year of probation, including 1 month of jail.
If they would tell us where the rest of Ashley is, we could bring her home. They owe that to her family. They owe that to her friends.
Unfortunately, I don't believe that they ever will. I don't think they'll give us that.
So anyways, have a good day. I really am going to go get ready for class now, and sorry for talking a lot, but that's just me.
If you were lucky enough to have Ashley in your life, and she considered you a friend, you know the loss. You know what you lost.
It's the last time you see pictures of all of the family together.
When that family was entering the house, he heard the gunshots.
911. Someone just shot our neighbors. Who shot them? We don't know.
There was a small gun safe. It had been pried open. Was this just a home invasion that went bad?
Sit there and think, what kind of relationship did they actually have?
This is not the all-American family that everybody might think they are.
In my opening statement, I told the jury panel, you're about to hear a tale of subterfuge, deception, and greed.
December 2003, Sugar Land, Texas. Kent and Tricia Whitaker and their two sons, Bart and Kevin, have called this affluent suburb home for more than a decade. It's a perfect fit for their upscale lifestyle.
Sugar Land was an amazing place to grow up. It was a community focused on faith, focused on friendships, relationships, a really tight-knit community. The Whitaker family was a pillar in the community. I attended a private school there in Sugar Land, and Kevin did too, and we were fast friends. The Whitaker family did so much together, whether it be fishing trips or camping trips, times on the lake. Kent and Tricia maintained that really sweet closeness with their kids and that high level of trust and communication. They loved to experience life as a family.
I was the Whitakers' next door neighbor. They were very normal, kind, empathetic people. They seemed not troubled, unburdened. Life is good. That was my general vibe.
To friends and neighbors, the Whitakers seem to have it all. A happy family where 19-year-old Kevin looks up to his 23-year-old brother, Bart.
Kevin was very humble. He was a man of integrity, of character, incredibly honest. The guy was smart, very engaging. Bart was a little bit more quiet. You didn't know necessarily what he was thinking like you did Kevin.
Kent Whitaker is the co-owner of a thriving construction company. A hard worker, his financial success means he can provide his family with everything they might want. His wife, Tricia, is a dedicated part-time elementary school teacher.
She loved and knew every kid in every class every single year. And the interesting part was that she didn't have to work, right, because of Kent's job. But it told you a lot about her heart.
On December 10th, 2003, Kent and Tricia plan a special night out for the family to celebrate Bart's graduation from Sam Houston State University. At dinner, they present their son with a $4,000 Rolex watch as a graduation gift.
I know what a Rolex cost, and he bought a Rolex as a graduation gift. That's not an everyday thing.
Kent is a proud dad and takes photos so they'll have a permanent record of Bart's achievement.
I've seen this. I've seen those. Sitting there smiling like that. Very happy.
It's the last time you see pictures of all of the family together.
Someone just shot our neighbors. Who shot them? We don't know.
I was there when they died. That was real, and I can't necessarily make sense of what I saw that night. I was sitting at my computer. I heard gunshots. I immediately dart out the front door. I get about midway down our sidewalk and I see Kent Whitaker laid on his back. You could see his body lit up by their front porch lights. And he was saying, Brandon, we've been shot. Call 911.
What kind of injuries did they have? I don't know. They just been shot.
Brandon's father, Cliff Stanley, rushes to the house and discovers that Kent Whitaker has been shot in the chest.
My dad runs out and starts rendering aid. I mean, multiple trips, back and forth with towels, just doing what we can. It felt awful. It was gruesome. It was a horror movie.
While police race to the scene, another 911 call comes from inside the Whitaker home. It's Bart Whitaker.
I've been shot. Where is your wound? In the arm, my shoulder. I think I can't read my arm. Okay, who else has been shot in the house with you? It's my mom and my dad and my brother. Oh, God, I can't. I need you to hang on, Bart. I've got help on the way, okay? Do you know who shot you? No. Dark in here. Okay, when he left, Bart, did he leave out your back door? Yeah, I chased him that way.
When I arrived on scene, it was very chaotic. There was ambulances, there were multiple police cars, fire trucks, a helicopter.
When detectives arrive at the Whitaker home, they find Kent Whitaker hanging on to life.
EMS personnel had went in. They had taken vitals for Kevin Whitaker, and he was pronounced deceased. Patricia Whitaker was flown by helicopter to a Houston hospital, and we were told she died en route to the hospital. Bart Whitaker had been shot. He was being medically treated by EMS. 2 people were shot. Another 2 people were dead. So we knew within the first hour that it was a double murder.
Kent Whitaker and his son Bart are rushed to a nearby hospital. Detectives quickly arrive to get a statement from Bart, since he is the only one conscious. Bart tells them that the family had just arrived home from their celebratory dinner when he realized he forgot something.
Bart Whitaker had reported that he had actually walked out to his truck to retrieve a cell phone. But when the rest of the family was entering the house, There was a guy that was inside that house, so he heard the gunshots. Bart reported he had chased the shooter through the home and out the back of the house, and he had actually been shot by the offender. We had had several home invasion robberies. So the thought initially was, are they connected? Was this just a home invasion that went bad?
But something doesn't quite add up.
Probably the biggest thing that stuck out to us was every drawer in the rooms were pulled out exactly even with each other.
So this burglar basically purposely, I'm gonna pull out every drawer about this, so it'll make it look like I was trying to look for stuff. But you weren't looking for anything. You were just pulling out drawers. The officers immediately knew that.
To the investigators, the scene seems to have the hallmarks of a staged burglary. Nothing appears to have been stolen.
There were electronics, there were computers, there was TVs. There was a Rolex watch that was found. There didn't appear to be anything taken. So things didn't add up exactly to being some type of burglary.
Burglars come in and leave within minutes. They smash everything they can, pick up everything in 3 minutes. That's what happens. They don't sit there and wait for people to come home and walk in through the front door and shoot them. It just doesn't happen.
While investigators try to make sense of why the Whitakers were gunned down, they realize they have another pressing matter in front of them.
We had a vague description of a dark figure that ran up through the back of the house. And now this person is loose in the neighborhood. So are they on foot? Did they get picked up by a car? Did they drive a car there and now they've driven away? Or are they hiding in someone's backyard and they've already shot 4 people? The public's in danger, and we were in a very tough spot. Where is he, or where could he be?
Police try to unravel a bewildering attack.
I crawled around for a bit. I really didn't know where I was hit. It just felt wrong.
And discover details of an inconceivable plot.
I was at the police station late one night, and there was a knock on the back door.
Do you have any idea who did the shooting?
Who did the shooting?
All the puzzle pieces just immediately connected, and realizing, gosh, the worst possible explanation for this is true.
As police in Sugar Land, Texas begin investigating the shooting at the Whitaker home, news travels fast in the tight-knit community.
I got a call from a friend. He's like, hey, there's been an incident, there's been a shooting. It was Kevin who had passed away, and Trisha had passed away as well. It was the most horrendous thing possible. And so at that moment, there's so much happening, you can't reconcile anything. You can't process, you can't grieve, it's just all hell's broken loose. December 10th, 2003 was a day that is burned in my memory.
I don't feel like I ever did process it. I just kind of did what I had to do and kept moving forward. It was just shocking. Sugar Land is incredibly safe. It's the kind of place where you don't even hesitate to take a walk at 3 a.m. It definitely made me more aware of my surroundings, of what's capable from people.
You know, the first question is what happened? What went down? And then why?
Detectives are urgently pursuing those answers at the Whitaker home. As they search through the house, they find a weapon and 4 empty shell casings.
There was a gun that was found in the kitchen area, which was odd. It's probably the murder weapon. Usually we don't find that the offender leaves the murder weapon on the scene. But it was an advantage for us because now we had the possibility maybe for fingerprints, for DNA, for other types of evidence that could be recovered from this gun. In one of the upstairs rooms, nothing in that room appeared to be touched at all, except for there was a small gun safe. It had been pried open. You could see pry marks around the frame. It was empty.
The gun safe was a small little box, maybe a foot by foot, tucked into a hidden area. Whoever did this knew what to look for and knew what was in the safe.
The discovery leads the investigators to question how familiar the killer was with the Whitaker family and their home.
It was odd that someone had targeted this small gun safe out of this whole big house. Why weren't the computers disturbed? Why weren't the TVs taken? They just didn't make sense. So our job was to try to find out who, how many people were involved with this.
Most people are killed by people who know them. 78, 80%. It's very strange you have stranger and stranger. It just doesn't occur that much.
Three days after the murders, police are still scouring the evidence for leads on a motive or suspect when Bart Whitaker is discharged from the hospital. His father, Kent, is still in intensive care.
Up this way.
Despite the trauma he's just endured, Bart agrees to assist detectives by returning home to relive that terrifying night. The investigators hope he can remember something that will lead them to the killer.
It's 7:54 p.m. Officer DuBose is going to be playing the part of the suspect, and I'm turning it over to Bart for his direction of everyone.
We went through the crime, trying to figure out exactly what happened.
I was here when I was calling 911. I might have fallen forward. Okay. Right after I was shot. Okay. I crawled around for a bit. It felt... I really didn't know where I was hit. It just felt wrong. I mean, I couldn't move my arm. I tried to push off the floor, and my arm wasn't working. I thought maybe I was hit in the side because it burned. So he went out the back door? Did you see him leave that back door? No. Okay. Yeah, I just don't remember.
They had him reenact the scene. And people generally, when it comes to crimes, they try to be very specific. Like he was standing here or something like that. And his was, well, I don't remember, it was this way, or could have been this way.
When the shot was fired, did you see any flashes of light? I don't remember. You ever physically make contact with the suspect? I don't think so. I don't know what I was trying to do. I know I was just trying to grab him. I think I got to him.
He was very vague about things you'd think he would remember.
At that point, we had no leads. We had just a family of 4 that had been shot, 2 that were deceased.
They came home at the wrong time, in the wrong place. That's the story that you typically hear, right? That's the initial reaction. It's just incredibly unfortunate, right? How does this even occur in Sugar Land?
Detectives investigating the murders of Tricia Whitaker and her son Kevin in Sugar Land, Texas, believe their killer was familiar with the Whitaker home and may not have been trying to rob them.
So we started doing a background on the family. The domestic relationship between Mr. and Mrs. Whitaker was nothing but perfect that we could find out. And every friend or family that we had interviewed said they had a great relationship.
Detectives turned their focus on the Whitakers' murdered son, 19-year-old Kevin.
Was he targeted for some reason? Was he involved in something that he shouldn't have been? But he had no criminal history. As we were interviewing friends and family members, Kevin seemed to be a good kid, and he was a tragic victim.
Detectives also take a closer look at the other Whitaker son, 23-year-old Bart, who was wounded in the attack and is their primary witness. It was his graduation from college that was being celebrated shortly before the murders.
Bart was supposed to graduate that coming Saturday. So we contacted Sam Houston State University, and we were told he wasn't graduating. As a matter of fact, he was a freshman as far as their academic rating, and he had like a 1.4 GPA. So we had a story that he was giving us that wasn't matching reality.
He was lying about going to school for the past 3 years. And so they zeroed in on him.
It sure seemed at the time it was too coincidental that this big family event had occurred, and then they get home from this event and they're all shot. So was Bart involved with what had happened? Was he not involved? We had to gather evidence.
Investigators want to keep what they've learned about Bart Whitaker under wraps until they can either clear him or tie him to the murders. But a local newspaper covering the case has also learned of his deceit and runs the story. Bart's father, Kent, still recovering in the hospital, is stunned and can't understand why Bart would lie.
Kent's response to it was, why didn't he tell us this? I just wish he would have, let the music stop and confess this to us.
How could you not know your kid's not going to college? So you sit there and think, what kind of relationship did they actually have?
Six days after.
But we didn't find anything at all.
As the family mourns, Sugar Land police continue to focus on the questions that have arisen about Bart.
We had discovered that Bart had some involvement with the criminal justice system already. We found a 2001 incident report from the Waco Police Department that there was a female subject that was in an apartment with Bart Whitaker, and she overheard him talking about wanting to kill his dad. We had an officer that actually went out to the house. It was early in the morning and made contact with both Mr. and Mrs. Whitaker and told them why he was there. But they didn't believe Bart would be involved with something like that.
Later on, when the father finally talks, he says, we're just talking about the Menendez brothers. It wasn't anything serious at all. And so the father just believes him. And that's it.
In the days after the murders, life seems to return to some semblance of normalcy for Bart and his father, at least from the outside.
And they were still living in the same house together where two of their family members died, and the suspicion is growing that Bart was involved.
And it wasn't life as normal, but from the outside, it was a dad and a son who had gone through this tragic event, locking arms and leaning into one another.
We had to determine how much are we going to tell Mr. Whitaker, because his life still could be in jeopardy with Bart still being around. And we didn't tell him everything. We tried to be as honest as we could with him.
There were maybe a few times that Kent would say, hey, they're still trying to find the guy, or they're still looking into it.
Mr. Whitaker was in a very hard position at that point. Slowly, kind of the bow's starting to unravel here, where there's information about his only living son that, at least initially, isn't adding up.
Police know Bart Whitaker didn't pull the trigger, but they strongly suspect he is involved in the murders of his family.
Bart was very manipulative with friends, and that was information that we received as the investigation went on. That's when the intensity ramped up into trying to identify who does he currently hang around with and where were they at on December 10th of 2003. This is not the all-American family that everybody might think they are.
Detectives in Sugar Land, Texas suspect Bart Whitaker knows more than he's saying about the murders of his mother and brother, and in fact, may be involved in the crime. But they have been unable to find any solid evidence supporting their suspicions. Then, a week after the murders, as investigators contemplate their next move, an unexpected visitor drops by the police station.
The lead detective was at the police station late one night, and there was a knock on the back door. It was a gentleman by the name of Adam Hipp.
Adam Hipp tells the detective that he briefly went to college with Bart Whitaker, and he wants police to know that Bart's statement about killing his parents in 2001 was far from the joke he claimed it was.
He said, listen, Bart Whitaker talked to me about killing his family before, back in 2001.
Adam tells police that Bart claimed once his parents and brother were dead, he would receive all of the family's assets, including their home and life insurance policies worth over $1 million. He says Bart offered him a cut if he would be his triggerman.
The detective had Mr. Hipp actually draw a map that showed where he was supposed to stand inside the house, and he would shoot the family members as they walked in. And that's exactly what happened on December 10th, 2003. Adam Hipp started working for us. We had him make recorded phone calls with Bart Whitaker to get him to talk about the crime.
Detectives coach Adam to tell Bart he knows he killed his parents, and then threaten to go to the police with this information unless he receives $20,000.
And that's when Bart Whitaker says, yeah, I can pay you. I can pay you some money, basically.
Bart never really came out directly and said, I did it, but there were enough indicators there.
In my opinion, we had probable cause to arrest Bart Whitaker on basis of what we had with Adam Hipp coming in. We did have that. Did we have enough to prosecute him and convict him? No. We didn't have any details.
But Adam Hipp's call to Bart points the investigators to someone else who may be able to help them build their case.
When Adam Hipp is on the phone, Bart Whitaker mentions Chris Brashear. And what is Bart Whitaker? Chris is going to keep his mouth shut.
Adam tells police that Chris Brashear is a former roommate of Bart's. Detectives track down Chris and bring him in for questioning.
Well, first of all, I appreciate you coming down. Yeah, man.
After establishing the relationship between Bart and Chris, detectives hone in on the night of the murder.
Do you have any idea who did the shooting?
Who did the shooting?
Yeah, any ideas at all?
And I mean, it's a pretty gross incident to me. I mean, I wouldn't even know where to start. I mean, it's kind of a blunt question.
Has Bart ever approached you about killing his family?
Wow.
He's never talked to you about that or anything like that? No. Never even joked around about it?
No.
So, did you go anywhere that night?
Yeah.
Where'd you go?
Went to, what's that place?
Hooters?
Yeah, that's right.
And it was you and Steven?
It was, yeah, Steven, his girlfriend, and myself. Yeah.
Investigators believe that Chris Brashear is lying to them. They learn that Steven is Steve Champagne, another former roommate of Bart's. And if Chris is providing Steve as a false alibi, detectives consider whether he might be involved as well.
Steve Champagne is enlisted in the Marines. We're looking at cell phone records, financial records. So who is communicating with who?
Police quickly locate Steve and bring him in for questioning.
Now, they say they don't know anything about it. They denied anything. So at least that's where they start.
Finally, as pressure grows, the story begins to change.
I think Steve Champagne, I think his conscience finally got to him. Then he let out a little information about when maybe I was involved.
Do you feel partly responsible?
Oh, yeah. Stephen Champagne changed his story and confessed.
Steve tells the detectives that Bart convinced him and Chris Brashear to join a plot to kill his family, so he could inherit his parents' fortune. Steve admits he was the getaway driver, and Chris Brashear was the trigger man.
He had taken Chris Brashear over to the house, parked his car a street or two over behind the house. Chris hid inside the house and shot the family members as they walked in on December 10th of 2003.
Did Chris say where he found the gun in the house?
No, I remember hearing something about a safe or something like that, but I don't know for sure.
Who do you think is the most responsible?
Probably Chris for shooting him. I mean, Bart planning it, yeah.
The big piece of information, evidence-wise, that Steve was able to provide to us is they had a bag that had a lot of evidence from the crime, walkie-talkies, water bottle, ammunition, that they tossed into Lake Conroe.
This is a big lake, man-made lake. They throw that in there. Now, what would be the odds of somebody being able to find that?
Steve Champagne, a suspect in the murders of Tricia and Kevin Whitaker, claims a bag full of crucial evidence was tossed into Lake Conroe, 50 miles north of Houston, and agrees to take police to the spot.
The police department with their scuba tank, they go out and look for it. In water, you can't see your hand in front of you. They found the damn thing.
Inside the bag, detectives find the tool used to break into the Whitakers' gun safe.
They even found the pry bar, and they managed to match it up by the scrape marks. They even found the cell phone they were using. Now, you tell me what kind of police work that is. God bless.
There was DNA that was recovered. That was Chris Brashear's from a water bottle. There was ammunition that was consistent with the ammunition that was involved that killed the family. Tangible physical evidence that links these individuals to this crime.
With the evidence now in hand, detectives have what they need to confront Bart, but he's nowhere to be found.
Bart Whitaker's Tahoe was found abandoned in an apartment complex in Houston. Both of the doors were found open. We sent detectives to the scene. We believe he's on the run.
We just lost him. People don't run when they're innocent, they really don't. Flight is a very good indication of guilt.
Kent Whitaker told us that there was money that was taken from the house. So Bart had some money to survive. Our job was now to figure out where he was.
The news of Bart's disappearance is one more shock for his friends and family, already devastated by the murders.
That was the big kind of aha moment, was when Bart left. So that's really when everything, all the puzzle pieces just immediately connected. And I realized, gosh, the worst possible explanation for this is true.
It's too much to really break it down into a coherent single thought. Shock, disgust, and disbelief almost that someone could plot and plan out something like this.
Police send out a nationwide alert to be on the lookout for Bart Whitaker. With the cash taken from his home, he could be anywhere. Meanwhile, Steve Champagne and Chris Brashear are charged with first-degree murder for the deaths of Trisha and Kevin Whitaker.
These were kids that came from great backgrounds, but were manipulated by Bart Whitaker to kill his family. And they went along with it because Bart had promised them a cut in his inheritance. And he had told them that, hey, it's going to take a little while, but I am going to give you some money.
For months, there are no leads to Bart's whereabouts.
So we worked with Crime Stoppers to put out that we were looking for the whereabouts of Bart Whitaker.
There's a Crime Stoppers award of $10,000. If you get information that leads to this arrest, we'll pay you 10 grand.
18 months after the murders, police get a call from a man named Rudy Rios.
Rudy Rios said that he had known Bart Whitaker and he knew where Bart Whitaker was because Bart Whitaker had assumed his identity and he went to Mexico.
Rudy Rios claims Bart paid him $3,000 to be transported to Mexico and that Bart has been living there for more than a year.
Bart Whitaker shacks up with a female and begins a relationship with her.
Mexican officials agree to cooperate with American law enforcement. Almost 2 years after the murders, they track Bart down, and on September 24, 2005, he is returned to the U.S.
We call up Ken Whitaker and said that he's going to be getting out of Mexico, but there was no deals made whatsoever. They just got him out. Put him back here and put him in jail. We had already made a decision. The only person we were seeking the death penalty was the mastermind, Bart Whitaker.
But Bart's defense attorneys work to thwart the possibility of a death sentence. At the heart of their strategy is Kent Whitaker.
Mr. Whitaker did not want the state of Texas to put his son to death, which is usually just kind of a reverse of roles where the family wants the maximum.
To forgive somebody of doing the most horrendous thing possible serves as a model of forgiveness. Something I think about all the time.
His standard was, I believe he's changed, and I'm going to forgive him. My standard is, he hasn't changed, and you can't forgive him.
All rise.
Bart Whitaker's capital murder trial begins on March 3, 2007, some 3.5 years since the killings at his family's home.
In my opening statement, I told the jury panel, you're about to hear a tale of subterfuge, deception, and greed, which will lead you to one conclusion, that Bart Whitaker had his family murdered. And that's the only conclusion he got.
Prosecutors put admitted getaway driver Steve Champagne on the stand. He explains how Bart outlined his murder for cash scheme.
The conversation was about when the family came back from eating dinner that Chris would be in the house and shoot them.
The jury hears that Bart staged a fight with the gunman, and they'd agreed in advance Bart would be shot in the arm to divert suspicion. The trial lasts 6 days before the case goes to the jury on March 8, 2007. They deliberate for just an hour and a half before coming to a unanimous decision.
The guilty verdict was very quick.
Now the jury must decide whether Bart Whitaker should live or die.
Call your next witness. Bart Whitaker. He needs to be sworn, Your Honor.
Bart didn't testify during his trial, but now, in the penalty phase, makes a last-ditch effort to save his life.
Please stand before the clerk to be sworn.
Bart Whitaker has been convicted of murdering his mother and brother. Now he's trying to convince the jury not to sentence him to death.
When Bart Whitaker was testifying, I actually had the defendant admit that he had no reason to hate his parents, but he did it anyway.
The only people I've ever hated, and I know it was not for the right reasons, but the only people I ever hated were my parents and my brother.
The prosecutor confronts Bart with his family's final moments, the photos taken by his father at the celebration for Bart's supposed graduation. He tells the jury one photo from that night is particularly disturbing.
He shoots a finger at him while he's doing it. Now, some people don't make that much of it. I'm sitting there going, do you understand something? He's shooting a finger at him knowing they're going to be dead. It's very chilling.
The jury deliberates for 10 hours before sentencing Bart Whitaker to death.
It's a hard question, and people have a lot of opinions about it because they're removed from it. But when you know the people and you've been involved with them, and definitely as intimately involved with this entire murder as I was, you see things a little different. Because I believe Bart should have received the death penalty.
Bart's accomplices agree to plea deals. Triggerman Chris Brashear is sentenced to life behind bars, and Steve Champagne, the getaway driver, receives a lighter 15-year sentence for cooperating as a key witness.
How do you even begin to broach that conversation with someone? Like, there's no icebreaker for, hey, will you help me kill my family? It's brought me to the conclusion that evil is real, very tangible, and it has a long plan behind it, and I truly think Bart was evil.
Over the next decade, Kent Whitaker remarries and builds a new life. He continues to fight to get his son's death sentence commuted.
Kent Whitaker never said he was okay with what Bart did. He always said he should be punished, okay? But he didn't like us seeking the death penalty. That was it.
When Bart's appeals are exhausted, his execution is scheduled for 6 p.m. on February 22nd, 2018. Then, with just 30 minutes until Bart is set to die, Texas Governor Greg Abbott grants him clemency.
And left, and I found on the news that they commuted to life.
I'll never forget the night that the news came out. I never forget that moment of seeing Kent break down. Man, it was over a decade of emotions. For me, I was on the side of commuting the sentence. Should he ever see the light of day? Absolutely not. That's a no-brainer.
One day, Kent's gonna die. And Bart will have no one left fighting for him, talking to him, coming to see him. And he'll have to live the rest of his life suffering like that. So I think he would have gotten off easy with the death penalty in this regard.
Trisha was gold. I find myself getting emotional thinking back to her. She cared for us. She loved us. She was invested in our lives. I miss Trisha dearly. I'm gutted that Kevin is gone. You know, Kevin was not a typical 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old, right? He wasn't a typical high schooler. He was always wiser than us. There was something in the yearbook our senior year. It was most likely to succeed, most athletic. His was who was the best, most humble, highest integrity human being, and it was Kevin. I started thinking about where would Kevin be now? I think that's what I still probably grieve, is not having that friendship for life.